What up, 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 what up? It's your boy T,
Hey, it's your man B.
and you're on the ride up.
Chill.
season two, season
It's
two, episode 16.
Yeah, 16. Yeah, 16.
Yowzers.
We are on the cook up. Shout out to the new shows. I'm a little unprepared because I just put up a fence gate, or I would have had the names of the podcasts in my hand. But shout out to the cookupradio.com and allowing us to be on their platform and sharing their platform with some great hosts and music, and I'm sure much more is planned. Shout out to Burn, everybody, all the staff out there. Yeah, man. It's been an interesting week, been an interesting journey.
Before we start, I wanna let the audience know that the song you just heard in replace of our normal intro was King Chase song called Still Gonna Try off of his Best Laid Plans 2 album that's available on all major platforms. And he said he even, for the fans, uploaded a deluxe edition of it on SoundCloud. So King Chase, you can follow him, King Chase 301 on Instagram. Download the album, stream the album. It's a good piece of work. I tell him all the time, he reminds me of Freddie Gibbs. He has like a Freddie Gibbs type of flow with him. Yeah.
I haven't been able to check it out. I've been trying, like we had a real conversation.
You just said you've been, Tim the Two Man Taylor all week long.
Yeah, he's out looking for houses for 4 hours Tuesday, and then had a whole conversation. Anyway, that's But and then just music wise, I was listening to Rick Ross, trying to get ready for this Rick Ross verses, and because we had a big conversation about what album is Rick Ross's best, and we got a couple of crazy people in our group chat talking about.
The conversation definitely shifted from Rick Ross versus 2 Chainz to Rick Ross versus Rick Ross. Absolutely.
Right. And that was interesting. That's a good conversation to have. Maybe we'll do that right before when we do the preview.
I'm gonna put it to you like this. I think I've been the bigger Rick Ross fan for the longest amount of time out of a lot of people that I know.
Mm-hmm.
When a lot of people were, more on Jeezy's lane than Rick Ross. I've been Rick Ross since Hustler. So people don't talk about it. I like Port of Miami. Like Port of Miami has joints.
I don't like his flow. I like how he changed his flow, like around around deeper than rap. Like so, that's when I caught. I'm around with him. Then Teflon Don came out. It was a classic. So you know what I mean. After that, he's been doing this thing to me.
Yeah.
I mean, but Trilla is a classic. Could you ride around with Trilla?
Trilla is so like I feel like because of. To be honest with you, I think because his first single off that album was a record with R. Kelly, and it's been canceled R. Kelly for like I guess 3 years now.
3-4 years.
I think people immediately just discard that whole album because that single was like a lead single. But I thought that was a great album, man. I thought, the joint he had with T-Pain, the joint with Nicki was fire on it.
Yeah.
I think
that was hard.
Trilla was a really good one. But like I said, I liked all Rick Ross. Like I can name joints off the first one, the Trilla, Deeper Than Rap. Like I can name all. I think, to be honest with you, I didn't get to a Rick Ross album that I probably would have passed. Like I wasn't crazy about until after he got very formulaic.
Yes,
he found out what the masses were feeding for, and he just kept giving them that same record. And I mean, that happens a lot of times. So I'm not condemning his whole catalog for it, or even suggesting that those songs are bad. It's just
He just
it
made
was
he started making a few of the same songs, and it wasn't. They're not like you can pop like 9/11 and or You Can't Hold Me Back, or BMF. Like once he hit BMF, he started kind of making the same song. But they're not even on their face. They're not even bad songs on their own. None of them are. But it's just like, damn, dog, you got like 5 or 6 of these. But you know what I mean?
Hallelujah.
Yeah, nah. When that joint dropped, that joint dropped. Yeah.
Fire.
But anyways, like yeah, we can get into it more if we're doing a versus preview or something like that, man. But that was fun. That was a fun little off the chart joint. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't expect the. I mean, I expect people to say Rick Ross is gonna wash 2 Chainz, but I didn't expect people to think like God Forgives is his best album. I just that's crazy. That's crazy. Anyway, we can talk about that later. There's some sports happening. Finally, some sports back. You know what I mean?
For who knows how long?
Yeah. Who knows how long? MLB's back. Training camps kind of started for football. Basketball starts as we record. It'll be a couple days since basketball starts when you hear this. And hockey started.
Yeah.
So everybody's back. You know, the NBA seems like the only ones that have the COVID situation in check. They've gone 2 weeks without a positive test, or a week without a positive test. Everybody's in the bubble hasn't tested positive. But baseball started, and one of the teams is down. and they're postponing all their games for a week. The Florida Marlins got, I think at this rate, got 18 players and staff testing positive for COVID. So they've canceled or postponed games, and who knows if that got to I think they were playing the Yankees before they stopped play. And we'll see if it spread to other teams or anything like that. So the funny thing is, well, not funny. Nothing's funny about COVID. Oh, there's some funny stuff about COVID. The interesting thing is, if they did transfer any infections to the opposing team, I want to know if that happened. But we'll see. I guess time will tell. And the defending champs are 2-4. I haven't. They're missing Tony Two Bags. They're missing Anthony Rendon. I don't know if that was a good decision, in my opinion. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a weird asterisk season anyway. But
yeah,
I don't think that was a good decision on their part to let Anthony Rendon go. But we'll see. And Juan Soto's on out because of COVID. So, man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be uphill for them. But
it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough for multiple reasons. Just the fact that you have people who are gonna, need to be quarantined occasionally. Maybe somebody gets it. But also the fact that, like I said before, on a previous episode, they had no spring training.
Right.
No spring training.
Right.
We're basically in August and they're just now starting. So I think that the NFL is at big risk because how many people it is. It's like you're so vulnerable.
Between the players, staff, and
all of old coaches.
Yeah, a whole bunch of older coaches. 5,000, what 3,500 players or something like that. Especially when they start out with 80.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be interesting to see how they navigate. I got it. What's your over under? How long do you think they're gonna play? You think they're gonna get to the whole 16?
I don't know if you get, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't even get to have a season, bro. I'm hoping they get a chance to, but I mean, I just don't know what it's going to look like because you have numbers that aren't dropping.
Right.
These cases aren't dropping, and the death toll hasn't dropped enough.
No.
It'd be one thing if they can get the death toll down and say, okay, people are still getting it, but their bodies are fighting the symptoms. And if we were at that point where the numbers aren't dropping for people getting it, but the numbers are rising and people who are getting it but not showing ill enough effects to where it's going to cause panic.
Right.
And when you have it with the NFL, like you said, it's a lot of people. Yep. But when you take on the NBA, you have everybody in the bubble, the WNBA, they also started, by the way, and you need to mention that because why? Because the Mystics are the defending champions, and this is around the time when their season would start. So they're not far off. If not exactly on, they're not that far off on their start date.
Right.
So they're right on course, and they're in a bubble as well.
Oh, and shout out to Kyrie Irving for covering the players that aren't participating in the WNBA season because of health-related concerns. Their salaries for the year.
Shout out to Kyrie. Super shout out to Kyrie for that. And I'm glad you mentioned it. I was going to say it too, and I was going to take that and challenge other people. Where's the piggyback? Listen. It's okay to piggyback a great gesture. That's like the gesture is like, I feel like I'm understating it by even calling it a gesture what he's done. Mm-hmm. Like 1.5 mil to help to pay for those girls. I want to see more money. I want to see somebody else put some money up. But
absolutely.
Again, shout out to Kyrie. Let's be clear. I know people know that I'm not a fan of Kyrie, the basketball player, because it's a sports thing. It's because he played for Duke. It's because he played for the Cavaliers. It's because he played for the Celtics. It's because he's a rival to John Wall as far as the best point guards in the NBA. But as far as who Kyrie Irving is as a person and a human being, I have zero problems with him. I support any and everything that these guys do, you know what I'm saying, as long as they're going about it the right way. Now, yes, I've had words that go against him, like, for instance, me hoping he would, you know what I'm saying, keep his plans under wraps if he wanted to do certain things that I'm not going to put out there. I'm not going to put those things in the streets. But, I would definitely be first, or in this case, second in line to give Kyrie Irving his flowers for being the stand-up brother that he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's funny. It's funny. I'm sorry, real quick. It's funny that he said it made me think about this that happened today. Mm-hmm. So Kyrie Irving donated 1.5 mil to the ladies that decided to sit out. Did you see the back and forth? What was it? It was a tweet in response from
Andre Iguodala,
where he says,
"That's number 23 is good."
Number 23 of the Mystics. She's
like, say my name, nigga.
she's like, yo, put some respect on my name. And I'm in this, and I'm having this conversation, and there's this sect of people that are defending the whole just gave her the number, number 9, and it's like, listen. I understand the fact that she's not popular. She's not the top 3 players, even on the team. Right. So I get that. She's not putting up.
That's the more reason to put her name on the jump. I understand. Like, I don't think he meant it as a bad, in a bad way. But like, that's all the more reason to find out her name and put that in a tweet.
And exactly that's the problem I had. This is the defense that people had. You'll be at a game and you may not know the players, but you be like, oh, number 15, he out there killing it. That's in the moment. Don't. This is the part where people are getting it mixed up. It'd be one thing if you're saying it in the moment,
right?
Right. But when you have a cell phone in your possession and you're tweeting it, you could have just as easily Googled number 23 Mystics. How hard is it?
Absolutely. So I get people saying, "Oh yeah," I mean, everybody does that, but nah, I mean, if you Andre Iguodala, and you watching Mystics game, man, just get the extra shout out. They need that. They need that, bro. Like, let's get them to a place, that type of place. You know what I mean? Where their names is the household.
But I will say this though: if it were playing the NBA, it wouldn't be a conversation.
No, absolutely not. No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't have been.
It wouldn't be a conversation.
It wouldn't have been. Yeah, it wouldn't even have made no noise. Nobody would have said nothing.
And that other person could have said the same thing. Put some respect on my name.
Yeah, and it still wouldn't have been nothing.
So, But anyway, so moving on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moving on.
So the NBA has started on Thursday.
Yeah. Jazz versus the Pelicans. And then the Lakers versus the Clippers.
It's Jazz Pelicans, no Zion, right?
You know what? I haven't kept score of everybody that's not playing because there's so many players who are either opted out to not play or they can't play because they're injured or they still in quarantine from exiting the bubble.
Right.
Like there's got to be at least 5 or 6 players that aren't playing in like every game.
Right.
Easy.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Yeah, they've been scrimmaging. Nobody, I guess it's kind of like a mini preseason, last couple weeks. The Wizards is one of those teams, one of the 22 teams that's in the bubble. I can't say that I've watched any because I don't have my sling yet. I was going to wait till the actual games came back, but I'm hearing good things about Isaac Bonga. They got Thomas Bryant stepping out the 3, and if he can hit that on a regular basis, that'd be good. But I'm interested in seeing how it plays out in general, this tournament thing, and then the playoffs. It's just everything's so surreal about, first off, life in the world. Only America at least, and then sports. Like, people wanted sports back so bad, and people risking, getting infected and affecting their career. There's already a baseball player saying he has a heart condition due to COVID. So, I can't remember homeboy's name off the top of my head, but yeah, man, it's crazy, and I feel for like all those offensive, skipping the football. I went from basketball to baseball to football. All the offensive linemen and defensive linemen, those big boys, that could be extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
If you get COVID and don't even know.
Because you're still training in heat.
Right.
It's a lot of pressure you're gonna put on your body and to be fighting off potential virus like COVID, very risky.
Yeah, right.
When you said offensive lineman, who came to my mind? Corey Stringer came to mind.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Yeah.
I miss Corey Stringer. Even though Corey Stringer was a Viking and not a Redskin. Man, I like Corey Stringer. It was sad because he played for Ohio State, and I used to like watching them play. Though I wasn't a fan, I just liked to watch because they were just a great football team to watch.
Yeah, so, rest in peace, Corey Stringer, man. That was sad. That was the kid.
I have a correction for you.
What's up?
Zion Williamson is playing tonight.
Okay, he is playing.
He's playing in limited capacity because they're at halftime and he's only played 7 minutes and he has 9 points. So
Okay.
yeah, Brandon Ingram and Drew Holiday running that show with them right now. They are 60-48 at halftime.
Oh wow.
I'm surprised that Donovan Mitchell played. I thought Donovan Mitchell was sitting it out. I guess that rookie deal talked him out of it.
He's trying for a max. Rudy already got. Somebody's gonna pay Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? But if it's not the Jazz, somebody's gonna pay him. I hope it's not the Wizards. Honestly, but Donovan's still fighting. Like there's a bunch of guys that's still fighting. It's a catch-22. Like, do you play ball and risk your career, or do you not play ball and risk your career? And then risk the league, or not your league, but how much you get paid, because they're gonna rip up that CBA if they don't play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
they gonna. I think if they didn't play, they would rip it up. But I don't think. I just think that's an excuse, to be honest with you. As I sit back and I think about it, I'm like, if that were the case, they wouldn't be where they are right now, as far as the collective bargaining agreement. Like how much further away could they be from their desired mark, from a player standpoint, if the CBA got ripped up? I think the only thing that would happen is maybe the owners would try to recoup some money that they lost from this particular season had it not started again. But as far as going forward, I mean, I don't think these millionaires and billionaires were in danger of, franchise imploding.
No, yeah, you're right. I agree with you.
Like, is LeBron James not, like, CBA blows up? Is LeBron James not going to get his money in the next CBA? Is that going to happen?
Absolutely not.
If you were let me change the question. If you were an owner and you were trying to blow the CBA, like what would you really bring to the table as far as trying to change the CBA that you think that the players would sign off on? Because they have to agree on.
Right. Yeah, it'd just be a strike.
Agreement part. It would be a strike, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
What you gonna do? Say that you can't get the 2+1? You give rid of bird rights? Like, what are you gonna get rid of? How much the max deal is? What it takes to get to be a max player? Like, I think, to be honest with you, I think that needs to change anyway.
Yeah, it needs to be more. The NBA. I think they gave in a little bit, and even they said it when they're on their last CBA. They kind of gave in a little early. They didn't get as many concessions as they probably could have, and they definitely need a bigger share of the pie, because the guys in the middle get cut out, to me. Like, it's either get maxed or you're getting mid-level exceptions. Or you're just playing prove it deals, deals. So yeah.
You know what I think? What the problem is? I think with the NBA and its salary is that they're like, number one, if you are a third team All NBA, you should not be able to get the same amount of money as first team All NBA.
That's true.
I don't think, like, the term max deal, I have a problem with that terminology, because if I am a third-year player and I get the max amount of money that I could possibly get, I am a max player. But
I mean, you can't get you're not even sniffing a second contract till your fourth year. So
it depends. My whole point is second contract.
Yeah,
I mean, not
yeah.
second. I didn't mean third year. I mean third contract. Just saying, like, if you are an average player third contract, and you get the max that you could possibly get on your contract. You are a
Right.
max player, right?
Gotcha. Yeah.
So as a fan, when you hear max player, you're going to hear what? How was he a max player? Because in your mind, maximum makes you think the elite of the league, and they misinterpreted to think that you're saying now that they are on the same pay scale or plateau as LeBron and KD, when that's not
Right.
necessarily the case. So
They can
even
make
so,
more. Yeah, there's tiers to
adding
that. Yeah.
adding in Supermax doesn't really do any justice, because there's like we don't know, like we don't as a fan base don't see the tier that come with it. All we hear, oh, that person's a max, he got a max deal, and we're like, and we react to just seeing a max deal. Even if you didn't see the money, it's just what, he got a max deal. But also I feel like what people don't understand is you're gonna object to somebody getting paid anyway. That's why you gotta go by that saying is you are worth what somebody's willing to pay you.
Right.
If I don't care how badly you dislike a player and try to discredit his accomplishments. If your team decides to pay him money, then that's what he's worth. Period.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, you can disagree with them paying that money, but I mean he got it. The market said it somehow, one way or the other, whether they negotiated against themselves or the bidding got too crazy. So the market dictated the worth. So he's worth the money. You can quibble about the percentage of the cap this one particular player got over the other player. I know we have big conversations about Otto Porter, whether or not he should have gotten an extension whenever that was, 3 years ago, whatever it was. Yeah, no, I agree, and especially in football, I definitely agree with that sentiment. I definitely.
The Wizards you can go on a point up. The Wizards have had you can have that conversation with plenty of players for the Wizards. I mean, over the course of the last 10 to 15 years, I think it all started with Juwan Howard.
That's 20 years ago.
They should have let him exactly. They should have let him walk to Miami.
Yep.
Fast forward to Eton Thomas. They should have let him walk to Milwaukee.
Yep.
Instead of them matching that max deal.
Yep.
He was a max deal player, everybody. Why? Because he got the maximum that he could possibly get paid at his I don't know what it's called.
His service, his years of service.
Years of service. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then
and
you
and
have
the CBA was a little bit different at that particular time. There's some how there's things that trigger this, like you said, the supermaxes and all this other wild stuff. So yeah, at the time, he made as much money as he actually could, possibly could.
John Wall has signed 2 max deals.
Yep.
Otto Porter signed a max deal. He's a max player. All that to me, here's the thing. All that says to me is you are not good at negotiating from a team standpoint if you have to continue to give players max deals. Like there's like you need to be putting your organization in a place where it's like, hey, you need to value wanting to play here because we're about winning. So I don't want to pay you if your max is 20, I don't want to pay you 20. I want to pay you 17.
Right.
And if that $3 million difference on your end is enough for you to walk, I'll find somebody else. I'll already have my eye on somebody else who I can pay $16 million. But I feel like the Wizards don't operate that way. They operate from a sense of panic, like, oh no, we drafted him, and it'll look like we wasted years on him when we probably could have traded him already. Well, You did waste it. You could have traded him, but that doesn't mean you have to give in and match. Don't match. That's another thing. I think that's another thing. We going off topic for a second. I'm gonna bring it back. Is in the NFL, if you draft a player and they're restricted free agent, somebody signs them, the team that signs them has to give you something. And I think that aspect of it, it's what's affecting these signings. Is that these players can get signed by another team and the team is left high and dry. So they put you in a panic. That's why a lot of these teams are getting a panic and oh, we got to trade them before this happens or that happens because they're in a panic. Like Kelly Oubre. Oh man, we don't want to lose him for nothing. Right. So you trade him for a guy who
nothing. They traded him for nothing.
Basically. Yeah, I like Kelly, but I don't think he was like the answer or the missing piece of the puzzle. But I think Kelly Oubre on this team would be a top 5 player on this team. So
he could have made like a difference, or at least with his on the ball defense. He probably could have got 3 more games.
Kelly Oubre would be in the top 5 of this team currently.
Yes. And
the money that he got from the Suns, the Wizards could have given him that money.
Yeah, no, it wasn't crazy.
So it was a panic move, and I think part of that. I mean, you see it go the other way. Look at when they could have. I mean, do you think they could have got Bogdanovich to resign?
No, I don't think so. I think he was going to be on his way out. I just don't think he wanted to be here.
Yeah.
So that was one thing, but I just don't think they had a real strategy. Like it just started unraveling, and then Grunfeld started pushing buttons. Should they have tried? I don't even think they tried to re-sign.
It felt like they didn't try.
They should have tried, and then they should have signed him over giving Otto his max. In my opinion, I mean this is all spilled milk, bro. I don't know if you want to keep doing this, but yeah. If it was me, I would have signed Bojan and let Otto go, or signed and traded him. He had signed the offer sheet with the Nets already. I wouldn't have matched it. You know what I mean? It was just poor management.
You match Otto's Nets deal, and now the Nets are in position. Now they end up having KD and Kyrie and Andre.
They saved the Nets. They basically saved the Nets from themselves. And it is what it is. So yeah, it's all spoiled, man. All
right, so we're not going. All right, let's get away. Let's get off it, please.
Yeah.
Let's start off. I'm not really getting pissed off. I was joking.
You want to go back to the NFL because they just dropped their top 100.
Oh, absolutely. Oh man. So there was no players from the Washington football team on the top 100,
which is ridiculous. Because
was it?
Yeah, it was. You have one of the candidates for offensive rookie of the year. If he doesn't hurt his foot and loses 2 games, he wins that. But they got DK Metcalf at 76. I don't. That doesn't make sense to me. It's not congruent. 2 rookies, like you can compare them directly. Two rookies. One has the best quarter, like the second.
DK was 81. 81.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he was 76. All right, but 81. Either way, that's negligible. He was like, even if you. So how was he better than DK? How was Terry McLaurin not better than DK Metcalf? How do you play with 3 different quarterbacks?
This is how you put it in perspective.
Still put those numbers in.
You put it in perspective like this: DK Metcalf plays for the Seattle Seahawks, and they were winning. and he was the number one receiver. Whereas Terry played for the he plays for the Washington football team, and they sucked. And you can't really look at the entire season because these votes go in around the same time as the Pro Bowl votes go in. So
that's also
Terry.
ridiculous.
So Terry,
he was tearing it up before that. He was doing.
He
did most of his damage.
I don't know if tearing it up is the right word.
He was doing most. He did most of his damage with Case. In my opinion, he did most of his work with Case, and that was early on. It was apparent that he was one of the best. He was going to be one of the better receivers. He's definitely their A receiver. He's going to be a number one receiver, and he's going to he's going to probably be a second round pick in everybody's fantasy drafts. If anybody has him, I don't know if I can commit $80 or $100, whatever you commit to a fantasy draft right now, because I don't know if they're actually going to have a season. But if there
this will
was
be my
one,
first year not doing fantasy, by the way. All right, so just to clarify, so even though they do a top 100, they build the list. They publicize the list out to 110. So even at from 110. The lowest rated wide receiver to make the list was Julian Edelman at 101. And I don't expect players to pick Terry over Julian Edelman. That's one player. Excuse me. Allen Robinson at 93. Allen Robinson is, even when he was playing with Jacksonville, he's a very good wide receiver. I don't know if I don't know if how well I would rank him, but he's definitely a good wide receiver. I do think Terry has a chance to eclipse a lot of the guys on the list. A lot of the guys. But based on his rookie season, I don't think it was like the stuff that he showed was empty. It felt empty a lot of times because they weren't winning. And wins, like if I'm worried about people, I'm worried about losing. So if you don't make me worry about losing, if I don't have to scheme to stop you, which it didn't feel like they needed a scheme to stop Terry. So
that wasn't Terry's fault. He was open.
It doesn't matter.
The quarterbacks. But
what I'm saying is,
wait. Okay, I hear you.
So you got to keep in mind. You got to keep in mind. They're asking all the players. Not everybody's going to play. So by the time November comes around, but I think that's when the Pro Bowl selections come in. So it's around November. So around November, you got to think there's a good handful of teams that aren't even paying attention to them because they're not on their radar because they're not winning. So you may have played against 5 teams, 6 maybe, right? So you talk about 6 teams that looking at this guy. So he's not going to be on anybody's radar. So I don't think it's a question of talent. It's about who's on the radar. Whereas DK Metcalf, it seems like the measuring stick for you right now, plays for the Seahawks. The Seahawks come into the season on your radar because they are picked to go to the playoffs. So you're looking at him like, okay, and you've noticed that, okay, Russell usually doesn't have like a premier target.
But so he wasn't considered a premier. He slipped in the draft. He was a 4th round draft pick.
I know he wasn't slated to be a premier this soon. But when you say, okay, damn, the Seahawks won, damn, they had those type of numbers, then you start looking to see how it's happening, and now you're seeing DK Metcalf's name.
Got you.
Whereas Terry didn't have that because it's like, damn, they lost again. Damn, they lost again. Damn, they lost. Nobody's looking. So I think that was one of the big things. I think so. Aside from your personal campaign to have Terry ahead of DK on the top 100 list, I want to move up to the top 5 really quickly.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give you the top 5. Lamar
right.
Jackson, number 1. Russell Wilson, number 2. Aaron Donald, number 3. Patrick Mahomes, number 4. And Michael Thomas, number 5. Actually, I'm gonna go to 10 because I want to mention his brother's name. Christian McCaffrey is number 6.
Mm-hmm.
George Kittle is number 7.
Mm-hmm.
DeAndre Hopkins is number 8.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Gilmore, number 9. Derrick Henry, number 10.
That's interesting. No Rodgers, no Breeze.
Okay. I was curious to see what jumps out to you as soon as you hear that top 10 list.
I mean, all those names are deserving of any accolade they get. I'm not going to say that one guy is over the next guy or somebody shouldn't be in that top 10. Stephen Gilmore is an interesting name to have in the top 10. Lamar Jackson.
He was the defensive player of the year.
Yeah. I mean,
that's how good of a year he had.
And that's crazy how quiet it was. Like nobody's really talking. Everybody's talking about Bosa's and Aaron Donald. You know what I mean? And I like Gilmore. So but yeah, I don't hate any of those picks. Like Lamar Jackson, he was clearly the best player on the Ravens and the best player on the best team or best offensive team or whatever for majority of the year. Like the only other player that I could say that was doing that well that long was Russell Westbrook. And then then you say Patty Mahomes. Russell Wilson. Wow. Mm-hmm. Russell Wilson. And shout out to Wynn and his baby and all that. But that was the other play that stands out to me that's like, going above and beyond being the MVP for a great, a length of time during the season. Patty Mahomes got hurt and then, he came back and he wasn't on the same type of pace he was the year before. So I guess he got overlooked a little bit, which was crazy because he's still putting up crazy numbers. Like the numbers was ridiculous, but they weren't as good. So, and then he got hurt. So it was it's crazy that people are overlooking him. I mean, he's Super Bowl champ. So, whatever. But
he's one of the only people who's on the list that was on the list last year, and their spot was the same. I'm looking at the entire list, and he's the only player that stayed pat. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
I think now I you would expect it to happen around the top 10. You expect basically the top 10 to be, especially the players that are in their prime to go, maybe 1 or 2 spots. But I mean, Lamar Jackson wasn't ranked previously. Russell Wilson was 20. He moved up 23 spots. So that means Russell Wilson was ranked 25th in 2019. The same Russell Wilson is now the number 2 player. Aaron Donald was the number 1 player in 2019 and dropped back. And I think that pick, Aaron Donald at number 3, is interesting to me because I don't feel like the Rams were really good last year. And
no, that's a legacy. That's a based on
exactly. Yeah. It's one of those you say his name because you have to say his name type deal. Like you gotta say Aaron Donald. But I don't know that Aaron Donald was even the best defensive lineman last year, let alone number 3 player. Like if you're going off of which like eyeball test, Bosa was more dominant.
Bosa, I mean, just hands down. Is he considered? I don't know that. I'm gonna sound stupid. I don't know what their base defense is. Is he considered an outside linebacker or defensive end? Bosa is on the end.
Are you talking about Bosa? No, they list him as a defensive end.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's he was definitely the best edge. You could see it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like it was
yeah.
it was amazing. Yeah, you put that hood on his, you put that KK hood on him.
Whoa.
He got that black.
Whoa.
He got that black QB on the other side. You going for it, boy?
Whoa. What happened? Whoa. So, what stood out to me? Yeah. What stood out to me is that George Kittle.
George Kittle. That's an interesting tight end that high. That's
George Kittle. Well, Gronk has been that high. There's been plenty of tight ends that high.
I mean, there's got Gronk, Graham, Aaron Hernandez. Maybe it would deserve to be that high at some point, but
if I go to it's hard for me to imagine if I go and ask 100 people to rank to tight end that George Kittle is going to be the number one tight end on their list. Like I just feel like most people are going to say Travis Kelce before they say George Kittle.
I agree, but that's a weird one. Because we talk about name recognition. Joe, he didn't really have that before this year. Like he got that this year. He was ranked 29th in 2019.
Really? Yeah, 29th. George Kittle he's a bad boy. But here's the thing.
He's nasty.
Travis Kelce was ranked 21st last year. So basically last year, Travis Kelce was ranked higher than him. He jumped 22 spots. That's crazy.
It's weird. I don't know how they calculate the votes and how they weigh them or whatever. I've not sat for a whole top 100 show. So I can't really talk about the criteria, but it's interesting how they tabulate that stuff. So I don't know if your name's on the list out of 4,000 players, then I guess you're doing something right. I would think. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, you're splitting hairs. Who's number 8 over 16 over 25, especially at skill, at whatever position. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I'm not really. It's just a debate piece. Like my player is, up here, and your player is all the way down there.
Exactly what it is. It was definitely contrived so that you can have something to talk about while you're waiting for training camp to start. Exactly what this is.
Absolutely, it's just a good piece of content. Shout out to them though for developing that, because now it is a talking piece for at least a week or so. And the last at least 5-6 years. I'm not sure.
Well, actually, it's normally it's longer than a week, because you got to remember, not including this year, you basically had to wait a week until it came out. Like they spaced it out.
Yeah. They used to space it out. Yeah.
They spaced it out for 10 weeks. So they had 10 weeks of we can talk about this. Then they had the reaction shows.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a lot of content built around it, whereas they haven't really had that much time to do it. So they basically dropped everything within this small time frame.
Right.
But, I mean, you like it because it validates your favorite players, and like you said, it gives you something to debate about. I like him more. But the thing, and I actually compare Kittle and Kelce. They're very similar to their teams. So, that stood out to me. That was the one thing that stood out to me, is that I saw Kittle first.
Did we talk about Patty getting $500 million? Did we talk about that? I don't think we talked about that. We haven't talked about football in a long time.
I mean, there was no football.
Right. I mean,
it's not football.
We haven't talked about any news regarding football in a minute. But that was big. That was big when he signed it. That's
how many years?
10, I believe. If I'm not.
He got a baseball deal.
Yeah.
His agent went in and said, "Yo, we need the biggest contract in sports.
That's
not
crazy.
Football, sports. That's a Yankees stealing a second rate MLB team starting pitcher and giving him that contract. That's a Yankee move.
Right. No, it's crazy how much he got. And he's part owner. He got a piece of the Chiefs. So he's really doing it. His summer has been great. And he was part of the video demanding justice for Black and apologies from the league about shadow banning Colin Kaepernick. And that's, I think, why the commissioner had to come out and do that little weird apology he did. And so he's had a great summer, a spring and summer, man. Shout out to him, man. He's exciting to watch. I guess we haven't had a lot of talk about football, but I think an underlying theme during our time when we did talk football has been power positions of power and race in the NFL and football in general. And I did tweet something earlier this week, maybe a couple of days ago. I'm gonna just say it verbatim. Just follow me, Fresh X Design, Fresh by Design. I think it's on the Zoom when you're on YouTube. But I said, imagine how many football players with talent that weren't acceptable personality-wise by these MAGA coaches that had their career cut short. And I just think about lost opportunities. I think about lost opportunities all the time. Football is just a microcosm, and why we need the Black community needs reparations. It's just a small picture of that. Like these coaches that didn't necessarily get their position by merit. Have these people's livelihoods in their hands, and they can crush it or extend it in different ways as they see fit. And I think that is it's not a perfect analogy, that is a analogy for the Black community at large in America. So, and in many countries in the diaspora. So I just find it fascinating. I just think about it all the time. About the lost opportunities our ancestors got, that they were handed and not handed, and what they did with it, and it's so crazy how we survived through all this, all the massacres, all the burnings, the lynchings, all the false arrests, all the mass incarceration plots, all the CIA drug importations into certain communities. So it's just how it's wild how we still sit at the top of the cultural beat. We make the culture here in America and around the world, and we control the cool. We have the soul, and it's just wild that we still have that spirit after everything that's been done. And if you read it all in culmination, you could be very angry. And that's why flashpoints like George Floyd happen and things of that nature. When George Floyd's murder happened, you see people going out in the streets. But yeah, man, I just thought about that, man. I think when I'm looking at football and I'm reading stuff like that, man, I just think about the whole thing. And I said this early this morning, things don't happen in a silo. Things don't happen in isolation, because it's just on Twitter right now. But if God forbid the defense doesn't live up to any expectations, Coach Del Rio's tweets, his MAGA tweets, are going to come up. Like, he is a real live Trump supporter, and he's wild. He's wild on Twitter, and just because Sports Talk Radio is low-key MAGA too. I'm talking to you, Zabe, talking to you, the Junkies. I'm talking to you, Chad Dukes. Just because y'all low key MAGA too, don't mean that's gonna stay under wraps, bro. Like if his defense falters, especially out the gate, we're gonna be talking about whether or not he has the locker room and why he doesn't have the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be talked about now, but I understand. I got you. I understand. We're gonna talk about it though. We're gonna talk about it though.
Yes, we are.
You know what I mean? If we have a season, which is, like we said, it's probably not gonna happen. So, you know what I mean?
So I got another one for you.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned since you mentioned Patty Mahomes getting that $500 million. Now this pales in comparison to that, but the Seattle Seahawks sent 2 first-round picks.
Oh yeah, Jamal Adams. The Jamal Adams trade, man, he's a good player. I don't know if he's 2 first-round picks, but good. But I think they've been they want to inject some life into that defense, and it's been a couple years since the Legion of Boom was really, in their prime, and of course, guys like Les Sherman's gone, and Earl's gone. Earl Thomas is gone, and
Chancellor.
I can't remember. Chancellor's gone. Cam Chancellor's gone. So, yeah, I think they're trying to piece that back together. And Jamal Adams is a good piece. I don't know if he's 2 first-round picks, good, but they have a great team.
On the list.
They have a great team, and they have a quarterback. If you have a quarterback, you can make things up, man. You can say, and you can have a good GM. You can scout. You can find guys. They found their 3rd tight end was catching was it Kistler or whatever dude's name was? He was playing really well until he got hurt. Like they find guys, and shout out to them and their staff, Carroll and Snyder and everybody up there. Like if you have that type of organization, you can give away 2 firsts, and it sets you back. It always sets you back when you lose first, no matter where they're at. And if you miss on first,
the only thing you do is win.
But if you're already a winning organization, you already have the quarterback in place. You can gamble on those types of things and win. And I think that's a good gamble for them.
You have to win though. That's the key. If you're going to trade away a first-round pick, you have to win.
Yep, absolutely.
And the question is what level of winning excuses trading a first-round pick? Does it mean you have to be able to have winning seasons like consecutively? Does it mean you have to win the Super Bowl? Because a lot of people trade first-round picks and don't necessarily win Super Bowls. So, it's a matter of return on investment. Like trading for, if you trade a player for a first-round pick, that player needs to be making your team immediately better. They need to be definitely contributing to the win share percentage on your team.
Absolutely.
The Redskins trading $1 million first-round picks for 1 first-round pick.
Right.
There was no. And I say this all the time, and I've had pushback on this. Based on what they traded him, not only RG3 couldn't have just won the Super Bowl. He would have needed to. He could have won just 1 Super Bowl, but he would have needed to be a Super Bowl winner, MVP, and a perennial contender,
right,
to justify that trade. Because because we've seen teams with no offense win Super Bowls. So you can't sell me on, we had to have him and at least we got 1. No, listen, to have a Super Bowl is great, but you don't necessarily need a quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You need a quarterback to not blow a Super Bowl. You don't necessarily need a quarterback to win a Super Bowl. We've seen it plenty of times. We saw Peyton Manning not lose a Super Bowl against the Panthers a few years ago. Famously watched Trent Dilfer do it. We watched Falco do it.
Yep.
So there's been several quarterbacks who weren't great, who just didn't throw the game away. He didn't blow. Well, Falco was a little different because that playoff run was really good for him. Whereas Trent Dilfer really didn't. Trent Dilfer really went. He came along for the ride the entire season,
right?
To the point where he had that whole season, and then they still replaced him the next year. And it was karma because they went and signed Elvis Grbac, and this dude retired in training camp.
Right.
Damn.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Nah, man. You're absolutely right. It's your team is heavily dependent upon your talent, especially your front end talent. And you get that front end talent by first round picks and the quarterback. So if you miss on quarterback and you give up first round picks to get that quarterback, you SOL if you don't win and that quarterback doesn't develop. Facts.
So Brian, do you have any more news for the Washington
football team? Yeah, man.
I don't even care if you got any news. I just wanted to say Washington football team because that's the name of our thing now.
Oh yeah.
Hell to the Washington football team. Hell, victory.
I'm not even mad about. I'm not mad that they did that. I'm not mad, man. I understand.
It's a understandable lateral move.
Yeah. I don't understand. Maybe because the it was we're gonna think about this. Then a week later, we're definitely gonna do it, and then a week later, watching the football team. Maybe they could have come out and said watching the football team off the jump, or
they should have just done that. That's what I feel like. Like, why not just come out and say when you say we're gonna change the name, but until we change the name, this is going to be our name. We're gonna go by this, and then. Until further notice, they should have done that immediately.
Absolutely, but I think two things. I think Dan Snyder is obnoxious, petulant child. So I think what happened was he was just trying to once he got pushed into having them change the name, he wanted a new name. Is hurry. Even though everybody tells you just to even change your uniform is a 12-month process or 12 to 16-month process. And then once the sexual harassment is, my man Jay brought this up on Twitter. Once the sexual harassment charges and lawsuits got brought out, I think everybody started to back up and say, man, you don't want your first big news story about your team with your new brand to be associated with sexual harassment in your trash culture that you've cultivated over 20 years. So I think they made a smart move. Just say, okay, it's Washington football team. They fumbled it like they fumble everything else, but cooler heads prevailed, and the Washington football team is here since 1932. You got to put the 1932 in.
Oh boy.
Jesus
so now you don't sing the song, you just play the instrumental version of the song.
I listened to the guy they hired the Terry Bateman guy, and he said they haven't even gotten to that yet. And that's
song?
How the in-game, I guess he called it the in-game experience will go. So that includes the fight song. And I don't think they even get to it because there ain't gonna be no games. So I'll be very surprised. And if they do get into the season, it's gonna go 1 or 2 games.
I don't think they'll have that much of a. I think the song will stay. Like, I think to be honest with you, the team really has nothing to like. I don't think the team has the power to change the song and it be effective a change unless it's like fire, because the fans are going
They're
to
always
always
singing.
sing the song.
Yeah.
The fans are always going to say HTTR.
Right.
Yeah. You know, so it's like you better find an R.
Yeah, that's why.
'Cause-
I think people are being a little silly if they don't think they need to keep the fight song in the R. I also think people are being a little silly if they think that the colors should change. I don't think that's the case either. My brother doesn't even like doesn't like the burgundy, but I'm just like, it's one of the most distinctive color coordinating color choices in the pro league. I know USC has similar colors and the Seminoles have similar colors, but nothing's like that
You gotta keep the color,
in
yo.
NFL.
You
So
have to keep the color, because I feel like when people attach colors to sports, I think that is premium. Washington football team will be premium. Whereas you take any other colorways, and I think so many colors are shared with prominent teams. You can't go, okay, well, who's the blue and white team?
right.
If you're going to go NFL, like you can't just if you're a college sports fan and you say, yo, who's the blue and white team? That could be Kentucky, that could be Duke. You know, you say, well, who's the red, white, and blue team? A million of them. What about the Navy red and white team? A million of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but like even if you say Navy, okay, who's the Navy gray and white team? Yeah, you'll have people say Cowboys, but you'll also have people say the Georgetown Hoyas. You know, like there's other teams that, like, I think, like you said, well, you have the yellow and black. I think because football is more of a dominant sport, you immediately think Steelers, but you also may think Pirates. You may think the Penguins. There's no other burgundy and gold NFL team. There's no burgundy and gold baseball team. There's no burgundy and gold hockey team.
Facts.
There's no burgundy and gold basketball team. The closest you're going to get to that is you're going to have to look at the Cleveland Cavaliers when they use those. In their jerseys, but it's not the way they design their jerseys. It doesn't scream Cavaliers when you see burgundy and gold, you know. And now you do see it a little bit in college football. Like you said, USC has a similar color. Depending on where you want to look at it, Florida State has had a similar color to one of the Reds, one of the Washington football team. Let's to be clear. At times we will say Redskins because we're just used to it. And for those who are offended by it, Brian apologizes. So you have USC, you have the Minnesota. I think Iowa or Iowa State has similar colors.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a couple of college teams that has the colors, but yeah, it's burgundy and gold, man. Burgundy and gold. That's
unique, man.
Yeah, man. Burgundy and gold. And plus, it's like that's people, because people relate to the team from their colors. You can ask somebody, hey, what's your favorite football team? Oh, you know I root for that burgundy and gold, baby. They know who you talk about.
Absolutely.
It's like, yo, what's your favorite football team? Oh man, you know, I like that brown and orange.
Don't work the same.
It's easy only because you know there's only one team that has brown.
Burgundy
and gold. Burgundy and gold rings.
It don't go off like burgundy.
But I'm hoping that they have a great package, to roll out. But since we're talking sports, a few years ago, I don't know exactly how many years, but a few years ago, at least 1 year ago, maybe 2 years.
Okay.
I posted a status that said, if my son doesn't win, he will not be taking home a participation trophy.
Right.
He'll just try again next year.
Okay.
And I had a couple side eyes and some pushback on my way of thinking. How do you,
Okay.
as a man who doesn't have any children, and
Yeah.
and I mind you, I had this opinion before I had a child.
Right.
What is your opinion on
Participation trophies? I think it's overblown a little bit one way or the other. I don't necessarily care if he gets one or not, or she. But they're not necessary. I think it's an extra thing. It's like you didn't all win, and you gotta understand that we don't all like. There's a feeling of loss that's necessary to be a part of life, and if you learn it early, you'll learn to cherish winning. Also, there is a point to the process and participating. There is something to that. You should enjoy the process, regardless of if you win or lose, and that's something you probably should drill into your children's heads as well. You should enjoy the process. If you don't enjoy the process, it's going to be hard to win, and you're not going to enjoy it when you do. But participation trophies are redundant to that point. So no.
So my problem. So here's my thing. I don't think it's necessary to the point where I feel like the people who put the energy behind this even being a thing were the people who had children that sucked. And rather than seeing them being heartbroken twice because one, they lost, and two, they're not taking anything home, they decided, hey, we should have participation trophies just so we can give everybody something. The reality is that's not life.
Not at all.
If you lose, you don't what's that phrase that says, to the victor
go the spoils.
Go the spoils. So if you don't win, you don't get anything. And one of our colleagues, my guy E, compared it to he paralleled it to professional sports, and I had to clarify. I said, listen, if there is if he doesn't win the championship, it's not. I'm not to be mistaken for some sore loser that's going to stomp out. No, I'm going to be there with him. He's going to shake hands with all the players, the last game or whatever the case may be, and then we're going to go home. So there won't even be a moment where he can receive this participation trophy. So because I'm saying, what are you going to do? You going to not bring it home? No, he's not even. It's not even. He's going to go back into that next season, or maybe he knows some of the guys and they took a participation trophy home, and that's the only way he's going to know about it. But other than that, he'll know that Daddy don't support it. I don't support it because it's number one, it's a waste of space.
Right.
If
you actually start really winning, you gonna keep that participation trophy up on the wall? No.
No.
you gonna get those MVPs and put all the the championship trophies on the wall.
Listen, God rest her soul. I love her to death, but I remember the first time I saw a participation trophy. My cousin Denise was playing. She's played on some basketball team, and Denise was horrible. Shouldn't have been on the team at that time. She number one. It wasn't like, it'd be one thing if you played for a team where the coaching staff is developing these players, so that they are like better
Right.
when they're done. It's like come to games and I'm the coach and I put people in, I take people out. We run practice, but it's not. I'm not really giving you no philosophy because they're not at that age. And I don't, anyways, she came home and she had a trophy. She's like, I want a trophy. I'm like, you want? That's the thing. I won a trophy.
Yeah.
That's the thought. I won a trophy. So you're gonna convince these kids that they won a trophy. So basically, just showing up and competing and being on the team means you are winning. No, that is false. That is incorrect. That is
I agree.
incorrect.
Yeah, no, you want that's the wrong message to send. If you
He
didn't win
said,
anything, you shouldn't.
he compared the trophy to money. Well, all the players in the NBA or all the players in sports, they get money. Well, that's not a participation trophy, and I don't think it's a good analogy. In my opinion, it's not a good analogy because that's not an award. That's cost of doing business.
Right.
We're contracted to do this. So for your services on my team, you get this. Not the league saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you this because you were here." It's not the same. And it's because you want to cater for giving a kid something that they didn't earn. I don't. You can tell me you tried hard. You can tell me you worked hard. But if you get on the floor and you play a whole season and you don't make the playoffs or you don't win, then why am I to believe that your team actually played hard and tried hard? Because there's no evidence. Where's the tangible proof that you tried hard? You look at a 13-3 team and you look at a 14-2 team that went to the Super Bowl, you're not going to tell me this 13-3 team tried hard. Clearly, somebody's not trying hard. Clearly, somebody don't have it. Clearly,
there's one thing. Try hard. You can try hard and not win because you're not talented. So that's one thing.
So why are you playing?
That's still not a merit any trophy. You should probably find something else that you have talent to do, and then do that well and get trophies and whatever accolades come your way during that. But I agree to a certain extent. But you can try hard and not have talent and lose. So I that point I get, but I get the contract, the money thing. I'm not as you'd have to sell me on the try hard and of course there's no evidence that you tried. There's no evidence that you're talented. So those things kind of go hand in hand at that point. And in a team sport that there's you can try hard, you can be talented, but you could be led by somebody stupid. So it's tough. That's a tough one.
So the fact that he compared it to the professional ranks, show me one league that gives all the players trophies at the end of the year. Everybody gets at least a trophy. That does not exist. That's not the way. That is not the way. And this is for anybody who's like thinking I'm on my way to being some like tyrant and evil, you know what I'm saying, sports fanatic dad. No, my son will have the greatest cheerleading team that we could possibly provide him. The support staff will be A1. He'll
What's
have
he looking
when
to play?
he loses.
What's he like right now?
He's only 2. So
of course he's only 2, but like he like
everything. He's a Brooks. He's just like his daddy, so he likes everything. He got a basketball hoop. He has a basketball hoop on the door. He likes to dunk the ball. He likes to play with my pigskin. You know what I'm saying? He grabs that football. But the sad part is because I played quarterback, wide receiver, and cornerback, is that I was never considered fast. quick, yes. I was very quick, had quick moves, and decisive, and very cerebral. Whereas he likes to run.
Hmm.
So I fear that my son will be a running back at heart, and I don't want that. I don't want him to be a running back. Now, if I am not going to be that parent to push my desires on him. If he
Right.
wants to play running back, and I will put him around the best minds I could possibly put him with as far as running backs. I have my cousin Nate, who played for Bowie State, was a great running back, great college back. Uh, I can put him with people who can definitely guide his journey in that. But even Nate wasn't always a running back. Nate started off as what they call the 8 back, which is basically a wide receiver that any plays that called in the playbook with the number 8 went to him, whether it's running or catching the ball. But yeah, it's Pop Warner. So,
Right.
but no, what I'm saying is I feel like because he's a leader, and I feel like you have the best opportunity to showcase your talent and get attention when you have the ball in your hand. Like it's hard for people to recognize how good you are. That's why offensive linemen and defensive linemen, you have to really be dominant. You can't be good in the lower ranks a lot of times and have the average person know how good you are. Only the experts will know how good you are because you don't have the ball and everybody's watching the ball. So I want him to be a quarterback because the ball is always in his hand. That's why I want. Like, and I've also said he's going to be a point guard. He's also going. I would love for him to be a pitcher or a catcher, preferably pitcher. I've said it before. I think it's going to be left-handed like his daddy. But anyways, I said it to say, for any of you guys who think I'm going to be some mean, pissed off dad because he lost, like no, I'm gonna be there ready. If he's the kid who takes it to the heart and needs to sit on the bleachers for an hour sobbing, I'm gonna be there. I'll be there to say, all right, I'm gonna give him a time limit. You got 30 minutes, then we gotta go. We gotta go. And when we leave, we're not gonna soak. When we leave, we getting right back to work. Cause guess what? While they celebrating, you working.
Yeah.
That's who we're gonna be. While they're celebrating, getting fat, eating pizza, you gonna work. Then you're gonna get pizza after you work, and then you're gonna work again. And so when you come, and you're gonna remember everybody who's on your opposition, and I'm gonna do it better. And if I'll say it like this: if my son is on a team that doesn't have a viable chance to win, then that means I haven't done a good enough job of putting them on a good team. And I'm not saying I'm trying to cherry pick anything like that and be like, oh, he got to be on some powerhouse thing. No, I feel like if you have a good strategy, because the talent pool, the talent pool can be very similar. So to be at the bottom means, wow, there's there's so many things you can fix when the whole team's on the bottom. Mm-hmm. So I feel like my team, my son's team, Teddy will, like, he'll basically be on a team where it makes sense for him to be on that team. Right. So I'm not cherry picking. So I'm not saying that he's going to be on a team that's already established so he can be on the bench. No. I want him to have a chance to play. He's not going to be riding somebody else's coattails. It's just you don't want it to be a situation where, when it's time to go to college, then you got to choose between going to D2 just because you can be the starter team or a mid-major. I'd rather him go to a mid-major and have a shot at winning. The only thing about the mid-major experience is that you automatically come in 10 steps behind the majors, because immediately when they go to do the power rankings, when they already do the preseason ranks, unless you are a perennial known mid-major, you won't even make the list. And it's flooded with nothing but, the top D1 schools. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a tricky situation. Like you want your kid to go to I want my kid to go to Howard or Hampton or Bowie State, historically black college, and we will probably choose one of those when that time comes, if given the opportunity. But we'll definitely choose from the one who we think he has the best chance at showcasing his talents and winning. But as far as participation trophies, don't waste your time putting my son's name on one of those things. What you can do is, I tell you what you can do. When you go and take the team pictures, you can put his stats and his accolades on the back of that. And that'll be good enough for us. So we'll keep that part. We'll keep that. And you can say, look, he was on this team. This was his number. These were his accolades.
A certificate. You get a certificate. That'd be nice. A little piece of paper.
No, I don't want no damn certificate. No.
I don't know what's
Unless it's part of the package. It's like one of those, you know what I'm saying, one of those trifolds where it's like the picture of the picture of the team, and then the other slot holds the certificate. I'm fine with that. But just some damn trophy to sit in a trophy case, boy, you destined to have a bunch of participation trophies in a trophy case.
Yeah, team picture. That's cool. To me, that's a participation trophy. A team picture, you got the year on it or something like that, and put all the names on the back, and that works for me.
On the write up,
that works for me. But
if we don't win,
you won something. No,
Brian,
that's a false hope.
If this podcasting was a sport, do you want a participation trophy?
Yeah. No, not at all. I need downloads.
Why'd you say yes? Why did you say yes at first? You said yes at first.
Oh, I said no. You said no. You said Brian. I said yes. I got a little lag going on right now.
Okay.
A little lag going on.
Got you.
I want downloads. I want reviews. I want 5 stars. I want you guys to love us. I want our content to reflect the reviews and the 5 stars and the subs and all that stuff. And shout out to everybody that's listening from everywhere. I think we're at like 15 states. We added Washington. Shout out to y'all. Tennessee, Ohio. New York is finally checked in. Yonkers, the Bronx. New Jersey, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Miami, Florida, Texas, California. There's some states in there that I'm missing, but shout out to y'all. Shout out to Bangladesh. Shout out to France, of course. Shout out to Australia, New Zealand, England. Shout out to
flipping all over the world.
Who am I missing? I'm missing somebody, but I'm let me stop. But shout out to everybody who's listening around the world. I want. That's what I want. I want my content to reflect the viewership, listenership, and getting contracts and acknowledgement and recognition.
Yeah,
is that it got holes in different area goes.
If I don't get a participation trophy,
that to me, that's
if we don't win,
podcast. There's a million podcasts, so
if we don't win,
a lot of trophies to make.
If we don't win, that's okay. Like we can accept not winning. You know why? Because we willing to work harder the next time around. So right. I don't need a participation. I don't need. You can recognize me without giving me a.
Yeah, we enjoy the process. I enjoy the process. And
that's the thing. That's another reason why you just that's a good
I enjoy the
right
process.
That's why he won't need a participation trophy, because he will enjoy the process. He will be able to. The process will be fruitful, and that's the key. Damn hey, you participated.
Right.
No.
He's gonna. Yeah.
Can you take away from the process?
Right. What did you learn? What do you enjoy? Why do you enjoy this? Do you like getting better? Do you see yourself getting better? How are you getting better? Things of that nature. Like the participation, the trophy, any participation trophy doesn't give you that. That's a veneer. That's a covering of something that's missing, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I didn't see the Facebook status, so I would have chimed in. But
yeah.
What I got?
What you got for me?
I don't got much. I'm trying to start some new shows. I gotta get into Watchmen. I gotta get into
the movie ruined it for me. I don't know if I can even try to watch that show because the movie, boy.
The show is more based on the comic than the movie, so it's really more about reading the book. So that's probably not something that's up your alley either. So yeah, it's more of an add-on to the graphic novel or whatever. So
do you know what happens tomorrow?
No, I don't.
Umbrella Academy season 2 comes out tomorrow.
I couldn't get into that, John. Season 1. I watched the first couple episodes. I couldn't really get into it.
And you talking about watching Watchmen?
The boys come out in a couple weeks. The boys.
That's also exciting.
Yes, very exciting.
Man, that's so funny story. Maybe not that funny. Funny to me. Made me chuckle a little bit. When I first saw the pictures for The Boys, I wanted to watch it because I thought that was Zach Morris. and hey, seriously, watching it took me like 3/4 of the first episode to realize that it wasn't Mark Paul. No, it wasn't Mark. Hold up. It took me half the season in watching this to realizing, oh shit, that's Sheriff Hood.
Yeah.
From Banshee.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does take a while. Yeah,
it took me a while to realize the blonde head threw me completely off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man.
Yeah,
man,
shout
I
out to
miss
Banshee. If you haven't watched Banshee, you go watch it. Start from season 1, episode 1. It gets crazy off the break. Unfortunately, it's a great show.
I'll say this. Unfortunately, I don't think that Starz programs make it to Netflix because I think Starz holds all their content for their subscribers.
Starz. Yeah, Starz does it.
But if you have the Starz cable package or the app, watch Banshee. They didn't get canceled. They decided, they just decided to end the show. So they went into the season saying, hey, this is going to be the last season. But, man, it was really good. Right around the time when I started watching Banshee, it's when I was watching Ray Donovan first came out, too. So I was watching both of those shows, man. Ray Donovan and Banshee. Great shows. Hey, but listen, guys, we have reached our destination for tonight.
Yes, sir.
You want to
Episode 16.
In dedication to 2 Chainz, he's about to get that smoke. Yeah. It's a vibe. 1,